Have you ever looked at something so old it feels like it's from another world? Sometimes it might be just that. Visual hook. Abydos helicopter, Madonna's UFO, Nazca line figure. Tucked away in ancient paintings hidden in the carvings of forgotten temples, there are shapes that make you stop and wonder. They are objects that look like they shouldn't be there. They seem to come from our time, or maybe even our future. Is it possible that time travelers or visitors from somewhere else left behind clues in ancient art? This idea sounds like science fiction, but the images are real. The question is very simple. What did the artist actually see? Let's find out together. We will not jump to conclusions. Instead, think of this as a journey. We are following a trail of breadcrumbs through a vast landscape of history. Each crumb is a peculiar piece of art. Each one presents a small mystery that experts still debate today. We will pick up each crumb and ask simple questions. We are not here to solve the puzzle definitively. We are here to embrace the act of wondering. The goal is to explore, to question, and to marvel at the possibilities that lie sleeping in stone and pigment. So let's begin our walk. Let's see where the trail leads. Our first stop will take us to the sands of ancient Egypt. We will look at carvings that seem to defy explanation. Then we will jump forward in time to the rolling hills of medieval Europe, where strange objects float in the skies of religious paintings. After that, we will journey through the art of the Americas, where figures wear what look like helmets and strange gear. For each example, we will consider two very different points of view. One view comes from history and art analysis. The other comes from a place of pure speculation and cosmic curiosity. Which one is right? That's the question that makes this journey so exciting. This exploration is not about finding a single easy answer. It is about appreciating the depth of the mystery itself. Our first breadcrumb lies deep within the Temple of Seti I in Abydos, Egypt. Imagine walking through halls built over 3,000 years ago. The air is still and heavy with history. You look up at a massive stone lintel high above your head. Something makes your heart skip a beat. Carved into the ancient stone are hieroglyphs that look astonishingly familiar. One shape strongly resembles a modern helicopter, a distinct fuselage, a main rotor, a tail rotor. Nearby, other shapes look like a submarine. Nearby, other shapes look like a futuristic aircraft. How could this be? How could people from the time of the pharaohs possibly carve images of 20th century technology? The standard explanation from Egyptologists and historians is both clever and logical. It's a case of a palimpsest, reused writing with the original still partly visible. The hieroglyphs were carved during the reign of Pharaoh Seti I. Later, Ramesses II plastered the stone and carved his own titles over it. Over millennia, plaster fell away and the stone eroded. The two different sets merged, creating accidental pictures. The helicopter is simply a trick of overlapping lines and shadows. It's an illusion created by time itself. However, there's another, more speculative view. Consider a far more radical idea. What if the ancient Egyptians were not just carving symbols? Let's travel forward in time, leaving the Egyptian desert for the green landscapes of medieval and Renaissance Europe. Our next set of clues appears in a surprising place: religious paintings. Across numerous artworks from the 14th to the 17th centuries, artists depicted biblical scenes like the Annunciation or the Crucifixion. But if you look closely at the skies in these paintings, you will sometimes find small, disc-shaped objects or cigar-shaped objects hovering in the air. These objects often glow, and sometimes they even appear to shoot down beams of light toward people on the ground. In many scenes, tiny figures can be seen looking up at these objects in what appears to be awe or confusion. The conventional art historian's explanation is rooted in symbolism. In the context of religious art, everything has a meaning. A round, glowing object in the sky is almost always interpreted as a symbol of divine presence. It could represent God the Father, the Holy Spirit, or a host of angels, often depicted in a stylized, non-humanoid form. These were not meant to be literal depictions of physical objects. Artists used a visual language that everyone at the time would have understood. The beam of light, for example, would symbolize the divine grace of God descending upon a holy figure. These were not UFOs, they were sacred icons. But what if the artists were painting something they had actually witnessed? Section 4. The Madonna's Mysterious Visitor. Our next clue is one of the most famous and debated examples of all. It is a 15th century painting known as the Madonna with Saint Giovannino. The artwork is beautiful. Virgin Mary, Infant Jesus, young John the Baptist. It's a serene, classic religious scene. But your eyes are not drawn to the holy figures. Instead, you find yourself staring at the upper right-hand corner, just over Mary's shoulder. There, floating in the sky, is a small, dark, oval-shaped object. It appears to have a radiant, golden aura, and it looks distinctly like a flying disc. Below it, on a distant cliffside, a man is standing with his dog. The man shielding his eyes as he gazes up, the dog barking. Looking up, art historians offer a straightforward and plausible explanation. They argue that the object is, once again, a religious symbol. It is likely a representation of an angelic announcement, specifically the one from the Gospel of Luke, shepherds keeping watch by night. And lo, the angel of the Lord came upon them, and the glory of the Lord shone round about them. The glowing object is the glory of the Lord, and the man is the shepherd. In Renaissance art, angels were sometimes depicted as luminous clouds. This was a common visual shorthand to represent a divine message without painting a full-winged figure. However, those who look for extraterrestrial clues see something entirely different. Section 5. Astronaut Gods of the Americas. Now our journey takes us across the Atlantic to the ancient civilizations of the Americas. In the art of the Aztecs, Mayans, and other pre-Columbian cultures, we find yet another set of baffling images. Carved into stone monuments and painted onto murals are figures that seem to be wearing peculiar gear. Some appear to have helmets on their heads, complete with visors or breathing tubes. Others have strange devices strapped to their chests, with dials and hoses that look eerily mechanical. One of the most famous examples is the lid of the sarcophagus of the Mayan king Pakal the Great. In it, he is shown seated in a complex contraption that some say looks like the cockpit of a rocket ship. Archaeologists and historians provide a cultural context for these images. They explain that the helmets and suits are not technological, but ceremonial. These are elaborate costumes and headdresses worn by priests, kings, or gods during religious rituals. Many cultures create intricate masks and regalia to represent divine or mythical beings. The tubes might be decorative tassels. Section 6. The Two Paths, Symbol or Sight. As we pause on our trail of breadcrumbs, a clear pattern emerges. With every strange image, from the helicopter in Egypt to the rocket man of the Mayas, we find ourselves standing at a fork in the road. Down one path lies the world of art history, culture, symbolism. Down the other lies the exhilarating, unproven world of ancient astronauts and time-traveling visitors. Both paths offer an explanation for what we see. Both are compelling in their own way. The first path challenges us to understand the mind of the ancient artist. It asks, what did the artist mean to say? The second path challenges us to imagine a different history. It asks, what if the artist was simply drawing what they saw? Let's walk down the first path for a moment. Art is not a photograph. An artist's job, especially in ancient times, was not to create a perfectly realistic snapshot of the world. Their job was to communicate ideas, stories, and beliefs. A halo around a saint's head is not a literal floating ring of light. It is a symbol of holiness. A dragon in a Chinese painting is not a zoological specimen. It is a symbol of power and good fortune. Section 7. Imagination's open question. So, where does our journey leave us? We have followed the breadcrumbs from ancient Egypt, to Renaissance Europe, and across the ocean to the Americas. We have seen helicopters, flying saucers, and figures in what look like spacesuits, all rendered by artists who lived centuries or millennia before such things were supposed to exist. For each, we have heard two stories, the story of symbol and the story of sight. One is grounded in academic research and cultural context. The other is fueled by a sense of wonder and the tantalizing question, what if? We are left not with an answer, but with a deeper appreciation for the mystery itself. The human imagination is perhaps the most powerful force in the universe. It can create gods and monsters, build heavens and hells, and give meaning to the stars. It is entirely possible that all of these strange images are products of that incredible imagination. They could be symbols of faith, stylized depictions of mythology, or simply the result of artists trying to portray concepts that are beyond words. Worn-out stone and faded pigments, combined with our own modern biases, can easily create illusions that were never intended. This is the logical, sensible conclusion. It is the safe harbor of what we know. And yet, the other possibility lingers, like a faint, distant star you can only see out of the corner of your eye. What if some of these artists were not just imagining? What if they were witnesses? History is full of unexplained events and strange sightings. Perhaps these artworks are the oldest records we have of humanity's long and baffling relationship with the unknown. Maybe they are quiet reminders that our understanding of the past and the universe is not as complete as we think. They invite us to keep an open mind, to question our assumptions, and to entertain the possibility that history has already met the future. In the end, whether these ancient artists were painting divine symbols or documenting real visitors, they have given us a priceless gift. They have given us a reason to look closer, to think deeper, and to wonder. These images act as portals, connecting our modern world to the distant past and sparking a conversation that spans generations. They remind us that some questions are more valuable than their answers. And so, the mystery remains, beautifully preserved in stone and paint, waiting for the next curious mind to come along and ask, once again, what did they really see? Maybe these artists were inspired by imagination, or maybe they painted what they truly saw. Either way, these images keep one question alive. What if history has already met the future? What if they were carving what they saw? Proponents of the ancient astronaut theory suggest advanced beings, from another world or another time, visited Earth long ago. If a helicopter-like craft flew over the Nile, an artist on the ground might try to record it. Lacking words or concepts, they'd carve its shape into the stone walls of a sacred temple. This would make the carving a historical document of an extraordinary encounter. So here we stand, with our first crumb, faced with two different worlds of thought. One is grounded in archaeology and known scribe practices. It tells a story of coincidence, erosion, and how our brains seek familiar patterns. The other view opens the door to far stranger, interconnected possibilities. Is it a trick of erosion and overlapping text? Or is it a 3,000-year-old eyewitness account of a flying machine? The stone itself is silent, leaving us only with the fascinating question. The alternative viewpoint suggests that these are not just symbols. The people in the paintings often react with genuine surprise, shielding their eyes and pointing up at the sky. This is not the typical reaction to a well-known religious symbol. This looks like the reaction to an unexplained aerial phenomenon. Could it be that strange crafts were seen in the skies over Europe centuries ago? Perhaps these sightings were interpreted through a religious lens, with the unknown objects being seen as signs from God. This brings us to a fascinating crossroads of interpretation. Are we looking at a coded language of faith, where every shape is a metaphor for a spiritual concept? Or are we seeing a literal record of events that were simply too advanced for the people of the time to understand in any other way? The objects in these paintings look remarkably similar to modern descriptions of UFOs. They are often metallic-looking, disc-shaped, and capable of hovering silently. The debate continues to this day. Were these artists painting their faith, using a lexicon of heavenly symbols? Or were they painting their reality, documenting the day the sky was visited by something truly unknown? Well, that's what we're here to wonder about. The tubes might be decorative tassels, and the chest pieces could be pectorals made of jade or shell, symbolizing power and status. The depiction of Pakal is interpreted not as him flying a spaceship, but as his journey through the underworld, with the rocket being the world tree, a central element of Mayan cosmology connecting the heavens, the earth, and the underworld. The ancient astronaut theory, of course, offers a much different interpretation. It proposes that these are not symbolic costumes, but literal representations of visitors in advanced gear. What if ancient peoples encountered beings wearing spacesuits? How would they depict them? They would use their own artistic style, but they would try to capture the essential details. The helmet, the breathing apparatus, the control panel on the chest. The Pakal carving in this view is a clear portrait of a man piloting a craft. The flames at the bottom are not the roots of a tree, but the exhaust from an engine. These were not gods in costumes. They were pilots in flight suits. Once again, we are presented with two compelling narratives. One is deeply rooted in the rich and complex symbolism of ancient Mesoamerican religions. It asks us to see these figures through the eyes of the culture that created them, as potent symbols of their spiritual world. The other narrative asks us to take the images at face value, as literal depictions of a technological encounter that shaped their beliefs about the gods. Did the Mayans carve their mythology onto a king's tomb? Or did they carve a stunningly accurate portrait of a man in a machine, leaving a clue that would only be understood thousands of years later, in the age of space travel? Is it a trick of perspective, or a glimpse of something that shouldn't be there?